welcome to another episode of Intellectual Dummies. We got This Week in Politics. It's October 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Lucas. This is my co-host, Paul.
What up?
And we got a lot to get to this week. A lot's been going on. So,
All right, so first we're going to start with some Senate hearings. But, okay, so now we got Lindsey Graham. This is the Senate hearing. They called Pam Bondi to Congress because, Comey's getting indicted. Do you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm glad.
So now the Democrats are crying, this is an abuse of power because Trump said he wouldn't go after his political opponents.
Well, it's funny because you remember, too, when with the Hillary Clinton emails, right? And what Comey said. Comey said, like, in a nutshell, if this was any other person or something, this person would be in jail. And just because it was Hillary Clinton, she's not in jail, you know. Politicians don't go to jail.
They don't. But actually, no, some do. Who was that guy?
Well, Paul Manafort went to jail. I mean, he's not a politician, I guess, kind of, not really, but
there was one guy. I want to say his name was Blagojevich. Remember, he was in New York and he went to jail for. He was on Rogan telling his story. He was a Democrat. He did like a behind the scenes House or Senate, like New York Senate seat deal where he took money in order for a vote.
Yeah.
But they all knew he did it, but once he went against Barack Obama, they released the audio of him fucking taking the bribe. Then he went to jail. Yeah. So some people do go to jail, you know.
Yeah, there was that other guy that went to jail for prostitution. His bank reported him for cashing checks in the middle of the night or something.
Oh no, he was taking out the exceeded amount of his ATM every single night of the week. And it's the bank's responsibility to contact the authorities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, come on, man. You're taking out friggin', $1,000 cash every night. I mean, granted, this is supposed to be a free country, but, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But hold on real fast. I forgot I had something else I wanted to show. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So during the Senate hearing, you're going to hear a lot about. Now, did you hear about this alleged conspiracy of Tom Homan receiving $50,000, some bribe thing where he took a $50,000 payout to give people jobs once Trump's elected in the administration?
Oh no, I haven't.
Well, the reason why you haven't because it was bullshit. Yeah. Apparently, some rumor came out. The FBI did an investigation on it, and they came up with no credible evidence for this at all. But the Democrats have been all of a sudden coming up with, we heard there's a video of Tom Homan taking bribes and all this shit. And so say, for example, they keep asking these gotcha questions. They do it to Pam Bondi throughout this hearing. But I have a clip here where they actually tried it with J.D. Vance, too, on CNN. They'll do things they'll talk about the bribery. And they'll say, you'll hear them say, yeah, there's no bribery. The FBI did their investigation. But then they'll try to give them a gotcha question well, did they pay taxes on it? To make them acknowledge, to make them answer yes, as if they acknowledge that he took money.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, what did he do with that $50,000, if we may ask? And they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So this just happened with J.D. Vance on CNN. I forget the guy's name, but you'll know who he is when you see him. He did the same thing, and then he cut J.D. Vance short. Watch. Oh, wait, hold on. So watch. Here's the first part.
Tape you're referring to, George?
Because he's talking about George Stauropoulos asked him, what about this tape that they're saying, allegedly?
I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, Low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing. I don't know what tape you're...
Now, here's the second
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
Pause it real quick.
No.
It's already, I mean, it's already over, but that's how quick he cut him off right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what they're doing is they're saying this alleged tape. Like
Yeah.
you'll hear this wording during the Senate hearing, alleged possibility when they talk about this Tom Homan thing. They all know it was just a rumor, but they're like trying to dig this up and make it like it's something, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, for one, you can tell they're absolutely trying to find anything to distract from the fact that Democrats are fumbling the ball hard right now with this government shutdown. Hard, because right now Republicans control the narrative. What's the narrative? They're trying to give health care to illegals.
Yeah.
And they
$80
are.
billion.
Yeah, you know? And so they're trying anything to distract. And here's the thing. This guy, George Stephanopoulos, alleges that there's a video or audio recording of Tom Homan accepting bribes. Play it. Play it. You saw it. You're reporting on it. You're asking the vice president about it. Fucking play it.
Well, that's the thing. When you'll hear everybody, nobody saw it. They're all going by, we heard. Heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that Trump P tape. Remember that in like 2016?
Yeah.
Where's the Trump P tape to this day?
Exactly.
There was never one. You know? But they're like, oh, this P tape's going to get him impeached. You know? But all right, let's get back to the Senate. Sorry for going down that little... I just wanted to lay the foundation.
Yeah.
Because you will hear this a lot throughout the Senate. So we're starting off with good old Lindsey Graham. Even though Lindsey Graham's on our side, fucking... I don't like the guy.
He's a globalist.
He sticks up for Pam Bondi. He sticks up for Pam Bondi. I actually this set of clips is more the Democrats grilling Pam Bondi than the Republicans questioning her, because the Republicans are just being nice to her, you know? Yeah. Kind of like on the reverse side when we watch the Republicans grill those like left woke people, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right. So we'll start with Lindsey Graham.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. So I want to make sure I got this clear. If a Democrat or a Republican senator...
Real fast, I'm sorry. Do you know of any other grown man on the planet whose first name is Lindsey?
Yeah, I don't.
Dude, I don't either, man. I mean, I know he's from the South, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
What kind of Southern parents are those?
...has a problem with a grant that's been canceled or reduced, you'd be glad to talk to them.
Yes, Senator, and I have been doing that as well.
There have been Democratic members who called you,
They have spoken to my office, yes, Senator.
and you've tried to respond.
On either side of course, if it has anything to do with law
So-
enforcement or victims,
And that includes Senator Durbin. If he's got a problem, he can call you and you'll try to respond.
absolutely.
Thank you. How many illegal immigrants are in Chicago?
Ooh.
They don't take count.
Does anybody know?
I do, countless.
Good number.
Yes, I accept that number.
What we have seen since January 20th, Senator Graham, is a 1,000% increase in violent attacks against our ICE officers.
Right. But I just want to know, is there like 10 or 100,000? Does anybody know?
Somewhere in between there, I'm sure.
There have been multiple, and we have made
I mean, we could just assume 100,000.
Well, we can all just assume that there's fucking way more, right? I mean, Joe Biden let in like a 10 million across the border in the last 4 years. The borders were open.
Yes.
So we can assume that it's a lot. Let's just,
Yeah.
you know,
I
does the
mean,
number really even matter? You
If
know?
they said 100,000, I'd be like, you sure it's that little?
Yeah.
You know.
Multiple arrests, of course, involving violent gangs
Yeah,
in Chicago,
Right.
throughout Illinois.
Right. So the only reason I ask that is Chicago is sanctuary city. Do they help ICE deal with illegal immigration or their sanctuary city? Do you know?
They are not cooperating, and I would ask that, I wish Senator Durbin would condemn the governor for not cooperating with our law enforcement officers.
The only reason I mention this, if you're a sanctuary city, any place in the country, you're making it difficult for the rest of us. Because word gets out, if you get to a certain city, maybe Chicago being one of them, that you're home free, and that just encourages more illegal immigration. Do you deal with that? Do I agree with that?
I do, Senator Graham, and can I add something to that?
Sure.
Please. One of our biggest wins was against the Sinaloa cartel, and that came in Chicago. The state of Illinois has a Trust Act, which prevents local law enforcement from cooperating with our federal immigration authorities. And that's what I was trying to talk
That's
to
wild.
Senator Durbin about.
That is
On
wild.
September 15th, our
How
partners
can they be allowed to do that?
Yeah, I know.
at ICE arrested an illegal alien from Mexico for beating a 21-year-old man to death. He had been imprisoned in Illinois prior to the murder and was released under Illinois' Trust Act. We filed multiple lawsuits in Illinois for sanctuary policies, specifically in-state tuition for illegal aliens and obstructing employers from verifying citizenship. You can't make this up. On September 5th, a federal grand jury in Chicago indicted a major Sinaloa cartel boss, narco-terrorism, guns, and drug charges. On July 11th, we announced a guilty plea for Ovidio Guzman Lopez. You may know him as the son of El Chapo, one of the worst narco-terrorists in the world. In the world,
In
Senators.
Chicago.
In Chicago. In Chicago. He entered a guilty plea to drug conspiracy and 2 counts of knowingly engaging in a continuing criminal enterprise in the state of Illinois. I could continue with fentanyl. I could continue with child predators in Illinois.
Well, thank you. I think I've seen numbers over 100,000. So Chicago and other sanctuary cities, you're making it harder for us to deal with illegal immigration by doing what you're doing. And I am glad President Trump is trying to change those policies. And if you need the National Guard to bring order out of chaos, so be it from my point of view. Now let's get back to the topic sort of at hand here about how the law is being used politically. In September 2022, Attorney General James from New York basically said in a campaign that she would go after Trump, his business transactions, and his family with full force. November the 15th, 2022, Trump announces his candidacy for president. November 2022, 3 days after Trump announced his reelection campaign, Jack Smith was appointed by Garland to be special counsel to look at classified information, document mishandling, and trying to undermine the 2020 election. In March, President Trump was indicted in Manhattan of 2023, just after announcing 34 felony counts. And what they did is they took misdemeanors and turned them into felonies by using a legal theory that no one in the history of Manhattan had ever been charged with. June 2023, a federal grand jury in the District Court for the Southern District of Florida indicted President Trump on 37 charges regarding classified information. Now, all I can say is that taking a hammer to a hard drive and bleach bit apparently doesn't make the cut. Having documents in the garage of President Biden doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
In August of 2023, he was indicted yet again regarding the 2020 election. So all I can say is that in September 27th, Jack Smith's team asked for my phone records and 7 other senators. Now, that's just the 2024 election. Comey, are you aware of the fact that in August, Comey, then director FBI, August of 2016, was in a meeting at the White House where it was discussed that by Brennan, then CIA director, that there was intelligence that maybe the Clinton campaign was trying to cook up a narrative that Trump was a Russian asset?
Senator, I believe that has.
Which, by the way, I mean, it's pretty much it's like confirmed that the Russian that was just a hoax. It was a narrative.
Yeah.
Like, it's confirmed. Obama okayed it to still get put out there when they told him that it was fake.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, it's like, where's the accountability? I mean, hopefully the accountability's coming right now, but I mean, Comey, he's corrupt as corrupt can be.
I paid fucking $24.99 for the Mueller report. Audible should fucking give me my money back.
I remember that too. I remember when we did that podcast.
Oh, dude, I was freaking so excited when I got the Mueller report.
Yeah.
I was like, look at me. I'm so smart. But all right.
Been reported publicly, but I cannot comment on that.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you. Now, this is a campaign for president in 2016. In July, they open up Crossfire Hurricane. In August, they have a discussion in front of President Biden that there's intel that maybe this is generated by his political opponent. Nothing happened. In September, are you aware of the fact that the intelligence community sent a memo to the FBI director detailing intelligence that suggests it's Clinton's campaign is behind the idea that Trump is colluding or cooperating with the Russians?
Senator, I believe that has been reported.
And that was addressed to the FBI director and Minister Strzok, this memo. Are you aware that he told this committee, I don't recall that, the FBI director?
Senator, I can't discuss anything.
Well, I can tell you this. What the hell would you recall? You're the sitting FBI director. There's a campaign for president going on. You've opened up an investigation believing that the Republican candidate may be a Russian asset. And now all of a sudden, less than a month later, 2 months later, you have 2 inquiries, 2 events to suggest it may be his political opponent. Did anybody in the FBI inform the FISA court or anyone else about this activity that you know of?
I can't discuss that matter, as you know, Senator Graham.
Should they have? Is there a requirement by law enforcement to tell the court if their warrant is being sought or a defendant that there's exculpatory information out there about you?
In general, of course, Senator.
So, to the country, the FBI director gets a memo from the intel community. This may be all a political plot by his opponent. They didn't do a damn thing. Are you familiar with the Steele dossier?
Yes, Senator.
That was a dossier prepared and paid for by the Clinton campaign. Are you aware that it was that document was used to get a warrant on 5 different occasions against Carter Page, an American citizen?
Yes, Senator, and that has been
Are you
reported.
aware of the fact in February 2017, after Trump is president, the person who gave Christopher Steele the information, the Russian guy, told the FBI, the information I provided you was all bar talk, hearsay, and not reliable. Are you aware of that?
Yes, Senator.
Was there ever an effort by the FBI to tell the FISA court about evidence that the man who helped prepare the document retracted his statement?
I can't discuss that, Senator.
Should there have been?
Can't discuss that.
You wonder why we're looking at Comey? Give me a break. Why are we looking at Comey? Because he ran an FBI and personally knew about exculpatory information and let it slide. How in the hell can 2 FBI agents interview a man who says the document you're using against a sitting president to suggest he may be a Russian agent or Carter Page that is now no longer reliable? How does that not get to the court? Can you tell me how that doesn't get to the court? You can't, can you?
I can't, Senator, and I
Can
can't.
you tell me
discuss-
why my phone records, when I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee,
Which the previous guy said Lindsey Graham is one of the 7 Republicans. They just found out like last week that Biden's FBI had all their phone taps.
Oh wow.
were sought by the Jack Smith agents? Why did they ask to know who I called and what I was doing from January 4th to the 7th? Can you tell me that?
No, Senator, and there were 8 senators in total.
Do you think that was an abuse of power?
Senator, I cannot discuss whether there is or is not an ongoing investigation. If I may add one thing, they also wasted $50 million on what you just described, trying to put President Trump in jail prior to the election.
Before Senator Whitehouse, I want to introduce into the record what is called the Durham Annex. The annex is a declassified appendix
This guy's a fucking old, dusty librarian.
Yeah.
John Durham's report about Crossfire Hurricane. The Durham Annex contains information exposing a reported Clinton campaign plan to falsify and tie President Trump to Russia. For years, I've fought to assemble and publicize all the facts surrounding Durham investigation, Crossfire Hurricane, and related matters. The Durham Annex was declassified as a large part because of Attorney General Bondi. White House.
Yo, and don't forget too, fucking Comey also did that 8647 in the sand, right?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
That should have been immediate friggin' indictment. Like, you know what, buddy? You're getting indicted now.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
should have been. It should have been something. It's like, don't pretend like you didn't know what those numbers meant,
Yes.
and you posted it on your Instagram. And why that fucking dusty old bitch has an Instagram is beyond me. Who's subscribed to fucking James Comey on Instagram?
I know, that's weird. That's
You know?
wild. Yeah, I know, that's wild.
But yeah, that should have been something. That should have been at least a call to violence. How is that not a call to violence? That's fucking crazy.
And look what's happened since then. Charlie Kirk, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know. That's Democrats' fault all day. Democrats are way more violent than Republicans ever in terms of calling for it.
Oh, you know what? I thought about it earlier and I wanted to bring it up to you, and I don't mean to kind of sidetrack, but how come Crowder has never been on Jubilees yet?
Oh, that's a good point.
You know why? Because he's a
should.
bitch. Because he's a
Get the fuck
bitch.
out of here. I'm gonna call Steven Crowder and be like, go. I have to prove a point to my brother.
You better
Go on
not clip
Jubilee.
this part out. Dude won't debate anybody. So next we got this is White House and Pam Bondi have a brutal confrontation. Doesn't even say who it is.
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Bondi, good morning.
Good morning.
What became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI paid to Mr. Homan in a paper bag, evidently?
See, like right there, he asked that question like as if it happened. So she
Yeah.
doesn't answer it because he's like, well, what became of that $50,000 that the FBI gave to him in a paper bag?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
In a
but
paper
you'll hear,
bag?
yeah, but like you'll hear questions like that all throughout this, and they expect her to answer it, and she doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Senator, as Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review by the FBI, agents, and DOJ prosecutors. They found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing.
And that was not my question. My question was, what became of the $50,000 in cash
What became of the
that the
wrongdoing?
FBI delivered, evidently in a paper bag?
What did he do with
to
that
Mr.
fake
Homan?
money?
Senator, I'd look at your facts.
Are you saying that they did not deliver $50,000 in cash to Mr. Homan?
Senator, as recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full
A different
review
question.
by the FBI agents,
That's a
by
different
Department
question.
of Justice prosecutors. They found no evidence of wrongdoing.
That's a different question. What
No, it's
became
not,
of the $50,000?
Yo, it's like if I asked you, hey, have you told our father you're a queer yet? And then you say, what the hell's your problem? I'm like, that's not the question. Like,
Yeah.
have you told our father you're a queer?
Yeah, and I was like, well, I've never had sex with any men. You're like, that's not the question.
I'm not gay. That is not the question, Lucas. Stop trying to change it. You know, it's like what is he trying to prove here? You know,
Did the FBI get it back?
Mr. Whitehouse, excuse me, Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to talk to the FBI.
The report to you, can't you answer this question?
Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to discuss this with Director Patel.
Did Homan keep the $50,000?
Oh my God.
As
This guy's
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the
Okay,
investigation
never mind.
of Mr.
Never mind.
Holman
I can
was
see I'm not going to get a
the
straight
full
answer from you to
review
a very simple
by the
question.
FBI agents and the
yeah, it's an extremely simple question. What happened to that fake money?
Yeah.
DOJ.
Do
They
you
found
know-
no credible evidence of wrongdoing. You know, you're very concerned about money and people taking money, and
Do
you
you
rail
know-
against
wait a
dark
second, wait a
money.
second, wait a
Yet you
second,
work with dark
wait a
money
second.
groups all the time, Senator
Wait a
Whitehouse.
second. Did you know whether or not in that investigation they looked at whether the 2024 $50,000 payment to Mr. Homan was declared by him on his tax returns?
So did he pay taxes on the fake money?
Senator, I would be more concerned if I were you when you talk about corruption and money that when you pushed for legislation that would subsidize your wife's company.
The
Yeah, you fucking
questions
dick.
here are actually pretty specific.
He had like a little stutter right there.
Yeah. You can
Pretty
tell by
specific.
that little head bobble he did.
So-
you know?
Having you
Yep.
respond with completely irrelevant far-right internet talking points really is not very helpful here. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, you generally like to have us be able to get answers to know, and we'll follow up with the QFR. And to the extent Patel wants to answer, that would be great as well. What happened to the $50,000? Did Homan keep it? Did the FBI get it back? If he kept it, did he put it on his tax returns? Pretty simple questions. Homan was the same guy who said there was a deal with Eric Adams. He said, if Adams doesn't come through, I'll be back. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to? Which brings us to the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovee, because he was also involved in that transaction.
Yeah.
What became of the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovee?
Yeah, Senator Whitehouse, to correct you for one moment, that would be the Honorable Judge Emil J. Bovee III to you.
Not at the time of this. He was an employee of the Department of Justice. And what became of the OPR investigation?
It's
into
all
his
pending litigation,
misconduct?
Senator. I can't discuss pending litigation nor personnel matters.
OPR customarily publicly says when there's an investigation, and at the end of it, they provide a summary. Why can't you say whether there's an OPR investigation and whether, if it's concluded, there's a summary?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
Even public ones.
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
So, Kash Patel told this committee that his grand jury
That guy's
testimony
steaming.
after
Did you see that look right there?
Rewind it.
That guy is steaming. Watch his eyes.
Kash Patel told this committee
Tight
Look at
lips.
Dude, he's fucking, even his eyes right there, man.
Not a single upper lip in sight.
Just,
that his grand jury testimony after immunization, after initially pleading the fifth, was, and I quote, sealed by the Department of Justice. How and when and why was his testimony sealed, and by whom?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss any testimony, especially testimony that could be sealed with you.
No, the question is, was it or was it not sealed?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Well, he also said that he worked with the Department of Justice to have his transcript released publicly. How and when was his transcript released? Presumably, if he released it publicly, that's something you can discuss because it's public.
Well, Senator, I believe you discussed that with Director Patel.
And I'm asking you because he said the Department of Justice made this decision and you run the Department of Justice.
I would refer that to Director Patel.
Even though you run the Department of Justice and he testified that the Department of Justice released his transcript publicly.
If it is released publicly, we will get you a copy, Senator, gladly.
If being a rather important word there, when your FBI director testified that that was a fact. Treasury compiles suspicious activity reports, referred to often as SARs, that DOJ receives automatically.
Yo, what do you think these people back here are doing?
I don't know. Looks like they're definitely all like texting or something. Look at all of them.
Yeah, you think that? I think they gotta be like this guy's like assistants, like his 3 closest people.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy sits behind that guy, and they just like pass notes and shit or something.
Hundreds related to accounts of Jeffrey Epstein. How many of those Treasury SARs did you or Director Patel investigate?
Senator, I'm not sure if you're concerned because you took money, I believe, did you, from Reid Hoffman, one of Epstein's closest confidants, not only once, but twice in 2018 and 2024, if that's correct. But Senator, did you ask Merrick Garland any of this over the last 4 years when he sat before you?
Why
This
don't
investigation has
I
been
ask
going
you?
on. This investigation was closed. Did you ask Alex
When
Acosta
you
that?
and Patel came to office, you said you would look into this. There were hundreds of suspicious activity reports. Some people would deduce from the fact that they are called suspicious activity reports that there might be suspicious activity. And yet you seem to have looked at 0 of those suspicious activity reports involving Jeffrey Epstein accounts. Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search
So he said supposedly. Now he's asking, do you know if they found him?
Yeah.
of
But do you see how they word that? That's fucked up.
Yeah, I know.
Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph
look at the
of
fucking
Epstein?
desk.
Come on.
The
Look at the
question
desk.
is,
Would you say? Yeah, he looks straight down, dude.
Yeah, he just looked straight at his desk. Oh shit.
Yeah, you're gonna hear some Epstein stuff here too.
did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that? Okay.
Moving on.
Here's what well, no, we cut to something else. The Marshal Service is supposed to protect our federal judges. I have asked repeatedly for the Marshal Service to let me know if they are investigating or being inhibited from investigating whether or not there is orchestration of threats against federal judges, whether under either conspiracy laws or racketeering enterprise laws or aiding and abetting laws, whatever. But as you know, there's the person who says the threat, and then there may very well be somebody orchestrating the threat behind them. Is the Marshal Service allowed to investigate orchestration of threats? And do you know if they've taken one step to do so?
May I answer the question, Chairman Grassley? The time has expired.
I think it's the convention of the committee that if I've started my question in my time, you may answer the
I
question.
was asking the chairman.
Yeah, fuckhead.
Okay, before I go to Cornyn.
She wants to answer the
Yeah,
question.
she was asking old fucking Dusty. Let's get this answer out of him.
Yeah.
Oh, please go ahead. I thought you said you didn't want to answer it. I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry.
Thank you. Senator
My
Whitehouse,
hearing aids aren't
I
turned on.
would be happy to sit down with you regarding any threat to any federal judge in this country. We take threats very seriously. I will set a meeting with you, with Director Seralta of the U.S. Marshals, and I will be there. And we will talk about any threats on federal judges.
Including
who
orchestration.
threatened them or who orchestrated them.
Bingo, thank you.
Okay. Before Cornyn speaks, I get kind of amused about my Democratic colleagues bringing up Treasury suspicious activity reports regarding Epstein. When Senator Johnson and I issued our Biden family reports in 2020, we used information from these very same type of documents. And you know what? We were criticized by our Democratic colleagues for doing so, and for years they ignored the evidence of the Biden family criminality.
Your views
That's fucked up. That's pretty wild, though, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Pam Bondi definitely got him pretty good a few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. He was really steaming.
Yeah.
So moving on, we got this lady. I
hate this
forget her
woman's
name.
face.
I'm not a fan of her myself.
on this is not pending litigation. So I want to get to the independence of the
Dude, hold
Justice
on, pause.
Department.
Did
at
you get
your
in
nom-
trouble? Did you get in trouble for like abusing her staff or something?
What's her name?
Let
Let me look.
I forget. Oh, is it right at the top?
Pam Bondi asked point blank about Trump's post with her calling. It doesn't say.
They'll say it.
Oh,
They'll say it. She ran for
Amy
president.
Klobuchar.
Yeah.
Amy Klobuchar. I'm gonna Google her right now. Amy Klobuchar abusing staff.
Yeah, I heard you got in trouble for like fucking just being a psycho. I mean, she has the look.
Let's take a look here. It says her office had the highest turnover rate in the Senate between 2001 and 2018, according to the report from the website.
Well, there you go.
It says, let's see, Klobuchar's best answer when asked about her reputation as a terrible boss has been that she has high expectations for her staff and to repeatedly point out the few staffers who have managed to stick around. But a greater number of staffers, always anonymous, have talked about how Klobuchar's treatment created a work atmosphere irradiated with anxiety and paranoia.
Wow.
But you know what? In her defense, she
Oh,
could
God.
have a bunch of woke fucking pussies who need a safe space working for her.
Hey, you know what? I mean, I think that's the best defense you're gonna get.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's the best defense you're gonna get.
She probably punched one guy in his shoulder, like, hey, and he was just like, oh my God, I need a safe space, like,
Yeah.
Nomination hearing, I specifically ask you to provide assurance to every member of this committee that the Justice Department will only follow the facts and the law, and the White House will play no role in the cases investigated or brought. You stated in response, this was you, politics will not play a part in my decisions. And you also said the Justice Department must be independent and must act independently. Do you believe that you have upheld that commitment?
I absolutely have upheld that commitment, Senator. I pledged that I would end the weaponization also of the Justice Department, and that America would once again have a one-tier system of justice for all. And that is what we are doing in this country.
We saw this with the president directing an investigation prosecution of Chris Krebs, the former head of cybersecurity, Lisa Cook, who is a current governor of the Federal Reserve, Director Comey. And the president, and I know you have said that you will not discuss discussions you've had with the president about Comey. Is that correct? That you won't testify here about that? Because I was going to ask you if you received advice, instruction, or request from anyone at the White House to direct the department to engage in any investigations, prosecutorial actions, including decisions not to investigate or prosecute anyone.
I'm not going to discuss any
Okay.
conversations.
But then how about the Truth Social post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam," using your name, "not bringing criminal charges are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history. And I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
Okay, it has been reported that you initially pushed back against requests by senior Trump administration officials to push out or fire the acting U.S. Attorney in Virginia, Eric Siebert, who's a conservative Republican, who made the decision that the evidence was not there to prosecute Comey. What made you change your opinion?
I am not going to discuss personnel decisions.
Okay. Is it true that the career prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia found that there was insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against former Director
That video
Comey?
anyway.
I am not going to discuss pending cases because Comey was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia by, I may point out, one of the most liberal grand juries in the country.
Okay, let's go on to other firings.
Well, that's another thing too. They keep asking her stuff about like like questions about investigations that are pending that she can't like answer the questions.
Yeah.
For terminations. Last week, the Justice Department.
Senator Blumenthal.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just so the American people understand, this issue of weaponization of justice goes to the core of the integrity of our criminal justice system. And I think we can all agree that no individual, no group should be targeted simply because they are a political opponent or because the President of the United States has some personal animosity toward them. You've just said that President Trump is the most transparent president in history. Tragically and chillingly, you may be right when it comes to criminal justice, because far from ending weaponization of justice, I would submit, Madam Attorney General, that President Trump has embodied it. And we have a record. It is a public record of his express instructions that certain individuals be investigated. The Attorney General of New York, Tish James, my colleague, Adam Schiff.
Who, by the way, has been found guilty.
Yeah.
So
He's about to say Adam Schiff, too, who also should be fucking in charge of something.
Schiff, the former CISA director, Chris Krebs, the DHS former chief of staff, Miles Taylor. There's a list. And he has been transparent. In fact, 5 days before the indictment of James Comey, he put this post up as instructions to you. He didn't mince words. He was very open and public that you should indict James Comey and others because they are guilty as hell. No more delay now. 5 days before you indicted or a grand jury at your instructions indicted James Comey. I'd like to know from you what conversations you've had with President Trump about the indictment of James Comey.
Well, fuck you, buddy.
Senator, I am not going to discuss any conversations I have or have not had with the President of the United
did you see
States.
that
You're
post?
an attorney, you have a law degree, and you know that I'm not going to do that. I also find it fascinating, because I'll keep fighting to ensure that law enforcement and the judicial process move forward without political interference. No one is above the law, not even the president. That's a quote from you, Senator Blumenthal, in 2017.
Well, let me ask you then, when you saw that
No
post,
one is above the law. That was your quote.
When you saw that post, did you talk to anybody in the White House?
I am not going to discuss any conversations I have, nor any investigations,
So
nor
you were unwilling
any
to tell
pending
this committee
cases.
about conversations with the White House
And if I may
regarding James
continue,
Comey's indictment.
and if I may
Let me show
continue,
you a picture.
James Comey was indicted by one of the most liberal grand juries in the United States.
The night before James Comey's indictment, you had dinner with the President of the United States.
Oh,
Pretty intimate group.
that's weird.
Actually, there
James
were a lot of
Comey
people there that
discussed-
night. That's a
was
great
James
picture.
Comey discussed at that dinner?
I love that picture. That's a great picture. And there were a lot of people there that night. I think the
Well-
entire cabinet was there.
Did you discuss James Comey with the President of the United States? He was sitting just to your left.
Well, 2 seats down, yes, 2 seats down. And I am not going to discuss any
I'm going to take
conversations
that
I've
as
had
a
or not
yes,
have with the
because
President
the
of the
American
United
public
States.
is entitled to know, Madam Attorney General.
The entire
whether
cabinet was at that
you
dinner,
took
too,
instructions from President Trump after he told you very directly to indict James Comey, which is weaponization of the Department of Justice.
Oh,
You know,
wait.
I want to agree with my colleague, Senator Hawley, that weaponization of our justice system must end. That's the reason that I propose legislation, and I challenge him and my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to
They had no problem with the weaponization of the justice system from 2020 to 2024. And now they got a problem.
join me in legislation that would create a statutory right of action for people who are selectively or maliciously prosecuted for political reasons. It would codify your manual, the Department of Justice manual, on political prohibitions against political considerations in charging decisions, and prohibit the White House from intervening, President Trump and any other president from intervening in charging decisions. It would make reforms to the grand jury process. You've just said this grand jury was liberal. We should reform the grand jury process to ensure that the government is not abusing its power and authority, and it will require transparency and accountability reforms at DOJ so that you will and other attorneys general be held accountable for these kinds of decisions. Will you join me in supporting that kind of reform?
Senator Blumenthal, I find it so interesting that you didn't bring any of this up during President Biden's administration when he was doing everything to protect Hunter Biden, his son. And I think you just saw what Director Radcliffe just released.
You know, this is an effort to be
Information.
positive.
If I can finish
and
answering the
constructive,
question, I'm not
Madam
going to
Attorney
yell
General.
over you. I'm not going to get in the gutter with you. But information that the Biden administration told them not to investigate Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine. And I'm not going to be lectured to you about integrity
another topic,
by
and I'm hoping that you
someone
will review
who
these
lied about
legislative
being in the military just
and
to be
support
elected
them.
a senator.
The merger between Hewlett Packard Enterprises and Juniper Network was settled. You authorized the settlement. It was the subject of a lawsuit to block it. The settlement produced virtually no concessions from Hewlett Packard. It was a settlement that prompted criticism from the Antitrust Division? Did you authorize that settlement yourself?
As I stated earlier, Gail Slater is doing an incredible job running the antitrust unit. And as I stated earlier, that is still a pending matter. As
Well,
you
you
should know
then
with a law
fired,
degree,
did you not,
that all
two-
mergers, if I can finish answering the question.
I'm going to,
If I
with
could
apologies,
finish. No, I'm
interrupt you
answering the
because
question.
my time is
No,
limited.
well then don't ask me a question. So,
Let me just ask you, did
as I
you,
said, you have a law degree.
Yeah,
You know
fuck you,
that not
buddy.
only are
Dude.
mergers agreed upon, but they have to go
Bro, I don't even know the guy, but he can't take that.
Yeah, he takes too. He definitely doesn't wear the pants in his relationship. He seems
totally
too
tell.
passive.
Yeah, you totally tell.
to a court of law to be approved. It's a multi-step process. And as I said earlier, that is still pending. And I have full faith in Gail Slater.
and Ms. Slater reportedly objected to the settlement.
Reportedly,
And moreover,
moreover.
2 of her top officials were fired, Roger Alford and Bill Sinner. Did you authorize and direct those firings after they objected to the settlement?
I am not going to discuss personnel matters or pending litigation in my office.
Let me ask you about another merger. The merger involving 2 home health care agencies on favorable terms, likely to drive up costs for millions of America. The Transportation Department's rule to provide compensation to travelers impacted by airline-caused flight delays, which was canceled. The merger of Skydance and Paramount, after Paramount's ownership took a number of steps favorable to the president. These kinds of mergers belie the claims that President Trump himself has made, that this administration will stop big corporate mergers that ultimately benefit the owners of those corporations rather than consumers or ordinary, everyday Americans.
Senator,
And let me ask you
Boy,
about
you just listed,
particularly-
you just gave a
Well,
list
let me just
of
finish.
many
I
mergers.
have a
Can
question
you
for
talk
you.
to me about the issue with these mergers?
I do have a question. In the merger that took place.
Which
that was
merger? You've
approved
listed many.
Involving American Express GBT. I understand that Brian Ballard, longtime backer and head of the law firm where you worked, was instrumental in lobbying the Justice Department to drop that lawsuit. It was dismissed, so it's not subject to a court review. What conversation did you have with Mr. Ballard?
Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you,
not
you lied.
asking
You
you-
admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S.
impropriety.
senator.
Get smoked.
You
I'm asking
lied.
you,
Damn, this fucking guy doesn't even know what he has coming to him.
Wow.
I mean, Jesus.
Huh?
How
about
dare you? I'm a
conversations
career prosecutor.
with Mr.
Don't you
Ballard,
ever challenge my integrity.
had
I have
apparently-
abided by every ethics standard. Do not question my ability to be fair and impartial as Attorney General and anything
You'll
with
answer that
my
question to
former
another of my
firm,
colleagues.
Ballard Partners.
Thank you.
Senator Lee has asked for the chair.
Yeah, just wanted to note for the record, the Paramount merger that he referenced was not within the Department of Justice's ambit. That was at the FCC, not the Department of
Yeah,
Justice.
pause
Attorney
it real
General Bonner. It had
fast.
nothing-
So Andy's wrong about that too, the idiot.
ChatGPT, did Blumenthal lie about his military service? Yes, Richard Blumenthal, Democrat of fucking Connecticut, misrepresented his military service in his past, although he acknowledged it and apologized for it. The claim that he did for years, Blumenthal sometimes said or implied that he served in the Vietnam War.
Oh my God.
The truth was he served in the Marine Corps from 1970 to 1976, and he was never deployed to Vietnam.
That's lame. That's lame when you served, but you're lying about like more things you did, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was a Marine in the Vietnam War. I was cooking ramen in Illinois.
No, what I said was I was a Marine during Vietnam. Right?
Yeah. Well, during Vietnam, it's like, well, you were in Vietnam. And no, it was just the time period that I'm talking about during Vietnam. I was like,
But even at the end there, like that merger had nothing to do with her.
Dude, oh, hold on real quick. Dude, I just brought up that last point as a joke. And I just fucking glanced at my phone. It said Blumenthal said that he had misspoken on a few occasions and clarified that he meant to say during the Vietnam era.
My God.
Oh my
What a
God.
clown.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what a clown.
That's hysterical.
And then, I mean, like, the guy's are clearly a clown, but like watching that, I had a hard time watching Pam Bondi just like own him like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like from man to man, like, bro, like you at least be like, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Why don't you fucking shut your trap? Like at least take it to another level if you lose them like that,
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
And that was why I asked Senator Lee.
I will welcome Senator Kennedy providing color commentary throughout my question.
I will be happy to. We ever finish this hearing this year.
And I'll point out Senator Kennedy has a new book about testing negative for stupid, so I hope I test negative for stupid. I hope I meet the threshold of
You
of
do
book
meet
type.
it, and I talk in the book about the tattoo of the Backstreet Boys on your back.
Look, I can't help that you don't want to reach young people. I think young people are the future, damn it, and I'll do whatever steps are needed.
Except the Backstreet Boys was 30 years ago, buddy. Right?
Dude, this is, I mean, it clearly shows their age. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to
But
reach
they're
out to, yeah, nobody knows who the Backstreet Boys that are like under fucking 30 right now,
Yeah, no, I remember hearing Bill Burr say one time how he had to update his jokes because he kept referring to Britney Spears, and Britney Spears was like, 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had to think of something more up to date. Like those guys like are clearly just old dudes that just, they're not up to date.
Yeah.
That would be on Vice President Vance's playlist, I heard, that got hacked.
Pam Bondi,
General Bondi, welcome.
Yeah.
I apologize for injecting you in the middle of Senator Kennedy's antics. We can't help him. Thank you for the job you're doing. You are doing a tremendous job keeping this country safe. And our families are safer because you are on that wall. Our families are safer because you are returning the Department of Justice to its core function, which is enforcing the law and locking up bad guys. We saw for 4 years, under the Biden administration, we saw the Department of Justice politicized and weaponized, and we saw them refuse to do their core function. More than 12 million illegal aliens flooded into this country, and the Biden Justice Department seemed to think
12 million.
Its job was letting murderers and gangbangers.
What did we say, like 100 million?
Well, they were saying 100,000 were in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago, yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, so they let in
go.
12 million. And I mean, a statistic that I heard in high school was that there was already about 15 million in the country, and this was 2009.
Oh, I believe that.
So I mean, there was from 2009 to Biden administration, I'm sure at least you could stack on a couple million more at least, and then now stack on 12 million that we know about. So it's probably more than that.
Dude, growing up my childhood and teenage years, all I knew was illegal Brazilians working in kitchens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brazilian
That's
after
every
Brazilian
restaurant.
after Brazilian. Yes, every restaurant.
And the results in just a few months that you've been able to produce are tremendous. Arrests of violent criminals are up 125% since the Biden administration.
That's rough when the percent's over 100. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
Fentanyl trafficking prosecutions have risen 42% since fiscal year 2023. DOJ has coordinated with DHS to remove over 220,000 criminal illegal aliens this year alone. Under your leadership as Attorney General, you have helped rescue 4,000 children from predators and helped arrest 1,300 child predators and 285 human traffickers.
Nice.
In my home state of Texas, Operation Soteria Shield resulted in the rescue of 109 children. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. Texans are safer because you are serving. Americans are safer because you are serving. You have a big task cleaning up the messes of the Biden DOJ. One of the most egregious failures of the Biden Justice Department was its refusal to protect judges and Supreme Court justices. As you know, in May of 2022, an unknown individual leaked to Politico the draft of the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, the opinion that finally overturned Roe versus Wade. That leak was a crime. It was a theft of government property under 18 U.S.C. Section 641, and it was an unauthorized disclosure of confidential information under 18 U.S.C. Section 1905. General Bondi, do you agree that leaking that opinion was a criminal act?
Senator, I can't discuss anything regarding that matter. That should answer your question.
Well, I will say this. The leak occurred in 2022. So the 5-year statute of limitations has not expired. And I'm going to ask you, if it is not happening already, to direct the FBI to investigate and find the leaker. The leaker has not been exposed. The leaker has not been identified. And the FBI has far greater investigatory tools at its disposal than does the Marshal Service. And when it comes to defending the rule of law, when it comes to the integrity of our court system, having partisan law clerks, and I believe in all likelihood it is a law clerk who leaked it, leaking opinions designed to try to pressure the court politically is a gross subversion of the integrity of the court. And so I would ask you as Attorney General to direct the FBI to use every resource possible to investigate, to find the leaker, and when you identify the leaker, to prosecute the leaker for that criminal conduct.
Thank you, Senator Cruz.
All right, I want to turn, secondly, after that decision was leaked. I believe the leak was part of a broader effort to intimidate and to threaten and harass justices into trying to get them to change their decision. And we saw mobs assemble outside the homes of multiple justices. Do you agree, General, that the mobs that came outside the homes of justices were there to intimidate the court and to try to influence the justice's decision?
100%.
Well, as you know, federal law, in particular 18 U.S.C. Section 1507, makes it a crime to picket or parade outside a judge's home, quote, with the intent of influencing that judge's decision. That statute is crystal clear. And I will point out, these protests happened in 2022. So just like the leak, the 5-year statute of limitations has not expired on these protests. But unfortunately, the Biden Department of Justice didn't give a damn about prosecuting this statute because President Biden and Merrick Garland and the political hacks at DOJ disagreed with the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs and were perfectly fine turning a blind eye to violent protesters threatening the justices and their children. You may recall I questioned Attorney General Garland about this statute, And he admitted under oath that not a single protester had been prosecuted. And he blamed the Marshal Service. He said the problem was the Marshals, quote, didn't make arrests. Well, subsequent documents told a different story. Internal training materials obtained reveals that the Marshals were explicitly instructed not to arrest protesters under Section 1507. So the reason there was no arrest is because a political decision was made that we like what the protesters are protesting for, and we, the Department of Justice, are not going to protect the safety of justices. We're going to allow them to be victims of an intimidation and threatening campaign. Just as I asked you with regard to the Dobbs opinion, I would ask you to direct the FBI to review the footage of these protests, to review the evidence that exists in terms of who engaged in it. And will you commit that anyone who you can prove violated 18 U.S.C. Section 1507 will face consequences and face prosecution?
Senator, we currently have 63 ongoing investigations involving judges and officials throughout this country. That scene that you're showing will not happen under my watch. It will not happen under Donald Trump's presidency. It doesn't matter if you're a liberal judge or a conservative judge or justice. That will not happen.
Amen. And that point that General Bondi made is very important. I would be equally outraged if you had nuts in front of the liberal justices. I'd say arrest them and throw them in jail. Violence is unacceptable, regardless of whether I agree or disagree with your politics. And violence, particularly fueled by rhetoric by irresponsible politicians, violence can result. And tragically, it resulted in one deranged individual traveling from California to Maryland with the intention of murdering Justice Brett Kavanaugh. As you know well, this deranged individual was arrested outside the justice's house. He was arrested with a kill kit. He was arrested with a gun, with handcuffs, with duct tape, with zip ties, and with the intention of murdering Justice Kavanaugh, very possibly murdering Justice Kavanaugh's wife and two daughters.
Yo, look at this kid's fucking stare.
Yeah.
He doesn't break either. Watch him.
Yeah, he's probably the
and
next
potentially murdering two other Supreme Court justices.
Senator Ronald.
As you know, just this week, a left-wing Biden-appointed judge sentenced this attempted murderer, this attempted assassin, to just 8 years. The Department of Justice asked for 30 years.
That's right.
And that judge downward departed by 22 years. Why? Because this left-wing judge said that the attempted murderer was transgender.
Oh.
Wow.
And because he identifies as transgender, apparently it's okay to try to kill a Supreme Court justice if your politics are sufficiently woke. Now, I know you have said the Department of Justice is going to appeal, and you absolutely should. I called this week, I believe this judge should be impeached because the judge has demonstrated she is completely unfit to be a federal judge. And what is your view of the justice of this sentence of just 8 years for the attempted murder of a Supreme Court justice?
I was speaking with our prosecutor, Ms. Mal, who did an incredible job on this case. She did an incredible job. And yet, this judge gave 8 years. And the judge also would not refer to the defendant by his biological name, referred to him by the pronouns, and was concerned about the treatment that this individual would get regarding a sex change while in prison. And we are appealing that sentence. I immediately said we are appealing that sentence.
Thank you.
Nice.
But my prosecutors did an incredible job on that case.
And the judge wanted to put him in a women's prison.
Before Senator.
Not going to happen, excuse me, I'm sorry, Chairman. That's not going to happen in the Bureau of Prisons now.
Before Senator.
Boom.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Madam Attorney General, let me ask you this question. Were you consulted by the White House before they deployed National Guard troops to cities in the United States?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House.
You won't even say whether you talked to the White House about this?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House with you, Ranking Member.
I noticed that. What's the secret? Why do you want to keep this secret? The American people don't know the rationale behind the deployment of National Guard troops in my state. The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government.
Like, what the fuck do you think the rationale is for it? We all know what the rationale for it is.
Well, no, he doesn't know, and he's running the state. He doesn't get it. What are you talking about? Crime's down.
Yeah, crime is down after they redefined everything.
Yeah.
And stopped arresting people.
You voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
Been on this committee for more than 20 years. That's the kind of testimony you expect from this administration. A simple question as to whether or not that a legal rationale for deploying National Guard troops becomes grounds for a personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this place. Let me
It's a good look to see where we are politically when this guy is completely ignoring the fact that his city's burning.
I know.
ask you another question. I want to, if you will, hold on a second. Make sure I got the right page of facts here. You testified under oath when you last before this committee that before your appointment to Attorney General, you had served as a representative of some sort for the royal family of Qatar. There was an issue that came before you in May when President Trump accepted a $400 million luxury jet from the royal family of Qatar for temporary use as Air Force One before it's permanently gifted to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation. The Constitution unequivocally bestows on Congress the power to control whether any officer of the United States, including the President, may accept a gift, quote, from any king, prince, or foreign state, end of quote. And this gift clearly violates the statutory regime enacted by Congress. You've refused to answer a letter I sent to you 5 months ago asking the legal rationale you relied on to advise President Trump to accept this unprecedented gift from your former legal client. Can you make a promise today that you will disclose that?
Disclose what, Ranking Member?
I assume there was a letter or some sort of statement from your office to the White House to advise them that you felt it was permissible?
First, to address my role with Qatar, as I addressed with you during my confirmation hearing, I disclosed it in my SJQ. In private practice, I worked for Qatar for anti-human trafficking for the World Cup. That was my only involvement, and I made that very clear, and I'm very proud of everything I've done with anti-human trafficking. Obviously, in preparing any advice for the president on a jet or anything else, we consult with the Office of Legal Counsel. The confidentiality applies to their input as well. And Chairman, if you would approve and vote to approve, as Chairman Grassley said, excuse me, Ranking Member, as Chairman Grassley said, my employees, we would answer your letters a lot faster, yet you're stalling them at every stop. And to go back to your previous question, your city has a murder rate 5 times higher than New York's. 571 homicides last year. If you were serious about protecting your people, you would be asking this administration for help. You're saying that we're coming into your state and your city. We're there to help make America safe and Illinois safe, whether or not you want to.
I believe cutting federal grant programs to law enforcement in my state and across the nation does not make us any safer, and you've done just that. You've supplanted that decision by sending in National Guard troops to California and other places. That is a situation where the governors have not asked for that help. If you truly wanted to do this on a bipartisan basis, you wouldn't defy a governor, you would work with them. I'm prepared to do that. I'm prepared to work with this administration.
Yeah, now he's prepared to work.
Yeah.
It's like all these governors are all of a sudden prepared, or like, and even the mayors, now they're ready to work with him. Now that they're there, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Now that their
cutting
political careers have been destroyed because
Yeah.
there's troops in their city, it's like Chicago's like the trope of the United States for being a violent place. I mean, they call Chicago Chirac.
Yeah,
That's how many people are murdered there.
yeah.
Police won't even go to some neighborhoods. Like, grow up.
grants to law enforcement does not make us any stronger as a nation or give us the tools we need to reduce crime in Chicago. Now, I'd just like to ask you, when it came to this Cutter situation, did you consult with the ethics office in the Department of Justice before making your decision on this gift of a jet?
Chairman, I didn't gift a jet to anyone. My Office of Legal Counsel provides confidential advice to the President, to the White House, period. And you're conflating two issues. Cutting grants, I was very clear about what grants we've cut and what grants we haven't, only 7%. And if you have a grant in Illinois that you think that I've cut that is protecting law enforcement officers or your people, you personally call me and I will work with you to turn that grant back on. I think many of the Democrats here can tell you, I have worked with them to turn grants back on. There's an appeal process. Tell me a specific grant that I have turned off in Illinois that would help law enforcement, and I will work with you. But you have not done that.
Did you take a look? Did you take a
The
look?
National Guard is on the way right now as we speak. Oh, by the way, so is Director Patel and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. You're sitting here grilling me, and they're on their way to Chicago to keep your state safe.
Madam Attorney General, it's my job to grill you. Investigation of your agency is part of my responsibility and this committee. You may not like the experience, but others have weathered the storm and answered questions in a respectful manner.
It's also his job to keep the city safe.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh shit.
we had to put like a list of priorities.
Can you tell me the grants,
Yes.
ranking member, please?
Take a look at the president's budget on HIDA grants. What happens to it in his proposed budget?
I'd be glad to meet with you on the
It's
grants.
cut by 1/3 from $300 million to 196. That's one example of a grant that works, and your administration has suggested cutting it in the budget lies ahead. I want to ask you about items in a letter I sent you in July that you have not answered. In February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now for review, end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files, and I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, excuse me, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo. You also didn't let me respond to the HIDA question. The budget transfers $196 million for high-intensity drug trafficking areas to the Office of Justice Programs, OJP. The Justice Department will continue to administer those grants under OJP in 2026.
Going back to the Epstein files,
So you're wrong on that.
according to another whistleblower who made a protected
Even
disclosure
that person turned around like, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah.
to my office, you pushed the FBI to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memo stating, quote, there's no incriminating client list. Why was the July 7th memo unsigned?
The July 7th memo came from the FBI and the Department of Justice. Director Patel answered those questions very clear. And You know, Senator Durbin, I find it very interesting that you refused repeated Republican requests to release the Epstein flight logs in 2023 and 2024. You fought that. Did you take money from Reid Hoffman, campaign donations, who was a huge Epstein friend? Why did you fight for years? Why did you fight to not disclose the flight logs, Senator Durbin?
I can tell you I did not refuse. One of the senators here wished to produce those logs, and I asked her to put it in writing, and she never did.
Yeah, I think Senator Blackburn would quarrel with you on that. But
Well, I
that's
will
up to the
quarrel
two
with
of you.
So that woman's on this panel, and she confronts him at the end of this video.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He was
watch.
to read somebody that you mentioned I never heard of.
Reid Hoffman.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this. You won't do it today, but eventually you will. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
I got to
Mr.
interject
Chairman?
something here.
Mr.
before I
Chairman.
get to him.
Mr. Chairman, since
someone's
Senator
here?
Durbin
He's like, wait, there's other people in the room?
referred to me, I would really appreciate the opportunity to correct the record.
Proceed.
Because Senator Durbin knows I repeatedly asked for those flight logs. I brought up the subpoena. You even shut down the committee because you didn't want that, and you know I submitted that in writing, and you continue to misrepresent that, and I am not going to let that record stand.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Senator Durbin.
I just want to make it clear that the reason the committee business ended was that your side invoked the 2-hour rule. Point number 2 is I asked you if you wanted any documents like flight logs to put it in writing. You never did.
Yes, sir, I did, and your staff knows that I did.
No,
We'll submit, once again,
Send me a copy of
the
that,
information to you. We've done that several times, but we'll be happy to, once again,
I
send it to
disagree.
you. I think your staff doesn't show that to you.
Well, as I started to say about the emolument clause, and Democrats bringing that up in regard to Qatar, back in March of 2016, they didn't care anything about my bringing up the emolument clause in regard. I wrote to the Obama Justice Department. That letter was based on Secretary Clinton's 2009 to 2013 financial disclosures when she was Secretary of State. Those disclosures showed that her husband participated in at least 62 events with foreign states. Some of those were speaking events with connections to foreign governments. And
Madam Chair, Attorney General Bondi, at your
Yo, so notice like this constant thread of like these Democrats spitting out this bullshit, and then like it's just getting thrown back in their face that they're just the gaslighters.
Yeah, I know. And that's what happens when you lie.
That guy was like demanding answers for Epstein, and it's like, hey, buddy, you withheld the Epstein evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you withheld it. What are you talking about? You know?
Yeah, Pam Bondi fucking wiped the floor with like everybody there.
I know. I wonder if it's like a strategy. So if you notice, like she'll look and she'll answer her question, and then she looks back down and like as if she was reading and you interrupted her. You know what I'm saying? Like she always looks up and looks down as if like you're interrupting her, and she's like, Like I wonder if that's like a strategy, you know, like a body language strategy.